Happy spring equinox. I am coming live to share something so important, so important. Chris and I were talking about this last night as to why is this so important? Why this month and this week, those of you who have been doing the week-long challenge, whether you've been sharing or just kind of doing it on your own, why it's so important. And I can speak from just even seeing patients day in and day out. It is so important that how do we navigate triggers from the heart? And it is so appropriate, by the way, that I'm sharing this right on spring equinox, which is all about opening up and expanding the light to illuminate the dark in our world, to illuminate the unconscious. And the really powerful message that, I really want to share why this work is so important is that when we don't do this work, practicing the heart response to triggers, to reaction, when we don't do that, what ends up happening is that we are literally giving our power away to our history. We are literally letting our history, our conditioning, lead the way and create constantly. Because every time that we are reacting and we're not aware that we're reacting because we're so in it and we're not bringing the heart presence, what ends up happening is that we are bringing from in that current moment, we are triggering past hurts, past moments, and we are reacting from old habits, from coping mechanisms, from triggerings, from stories. And we're actually just constantly recycling, remembering, rewiring the past into the present. And so this is such a powerful thing because I see day in and day out patients and people like, why am I stuck? Why I want to feel powerful, but I'm not powerful? Why I want to manifest this and that, but it's not happening. And it's not because the love and the passion and the truth is not there. It's because unconsciously, there is a lot of the old that is coming in and constantly creating every time we are getting triggered. And we're not aware, and we're not bringing the heart-centered response. And so important when we don't consciously and intentionally bring our heart to our moments of trigger, of reactivity, of challenging situations, we are simply giving our power away and recycling, remembering, rewiring our past into this moment and into our future. And so it's mind-blowing. I mean, it's just mind-blowing, and that's the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to share that was so important, it's that, and I went through this for a long time, I get triggered and then I get upset with myself. Why did I get triggered? Why am I reacting? I get stuck on why am I getting triggered? Why am I reacting? And I used to go into self-judgment, and I still do. And the problem is not the trigger. This is part of our human existence. So long as we live in this plane, this is our school. This is what's going to happen. We're going to get triggered. The trigger is not the problem. The problem is when we're not actively involving our heart in the situation. And when we're not involving our heart in the situation, the heart is out of the equation and we are departing from our heart and revolving in the same rewiring of the amygdala and the nervous system and the same old conditioning. And so that's the only problem. It's not, am I getting triggered? It's really about how do I choose to respond? And the third thing I want to quickly say is that, these situations are not about, God, what an important point I want to make. This situations is not about going to the past, digging up the trauma, reliving what happened, feeling that whole pain again. It's not about that. This is, oh my God, we'll just sit in constant pain. No, what this is about is practicing bringing a higher consciousness of presence, of love, of compassion, of power, meeting these moments when we're getting triggered from a higher presence. That's the point. We're actually becoming creators, and we cannot become creators when we're reactors, right? So this is the whole point of this, is to actually become creators of love and presence into our future and into other people's lives and into our own possibilities and into our visions. It's about becoming conscious creators. It's not about perfection. I'm messing up all the time, and if I were to get upset with myself, I'll just be constantly upset. So it's not about that as much as it is about presence and practice, that 1%, that 5%. Can you imagine that kind of world? So thank you for doing the work, because when you're doing the work, it is the greatest gift to yourself, to your visions, to your dreams, to the ones you love, to the people you interact with. It is the greatest gift. There is no greater gift. I tell Chris, the greatest gift he can give to me is to bring his conscious presence, because that means he's an active creator with me rather than reacting. Same thing with me. The greatest gift I can give to him is my conscious presence, so that we move from pointing the finger to loving awareness and conscious creation from a higher consciousness of our hearts. Happy equinox. Mwah.